case you wanted a digger.
All right, so
let's pull this up. So this here, quick. I'm not sure if you've watched a lot of Fox News. Okay, hopefully not. And in a lot of the times, they've really shit on video games from a very uneducated and an unknowledgeable standpoint. You know what I mean? It's a very biased and a very one-sided. It's very, we want ratings. It's very this and that. It's not, here's a logical look at video games. It's video games are bad. And apparently, it doesn't matter what genre of video game. Watch this shit.
Well, the Green Police trying to reach your kids at home on the video game systems. In the SimCity Society games, kids have to build environmentally friendly towns or face a fine. That sounds like a good lesson. But is this promoting education or just a liberal agenda with what they actually have to purchase? Joining us now is radio host and parent TJ McCormick. Nice to see you.
Looks like he gets laid on a regular basis.
So let's get into some specifics. You know, that sounds like a good lesson to be learned. Be environmentally friendly. We don't want people polluting. But it's when you dive into the specifics of the game that it gets a little bit gray or not green.
Yeah, and when you use fear, you know, I think right off the top, you know, anytime I see a social cause that somebody's profiting off of, right away, credibility to me is in question. And, yeah, you know, I think the scare tactics, the guilt involved, you know.
Well, let's be specific.
So the first game they use is SimCity Societies is a bad game to play.
Oh, yeah.
The thing is, you can take anything and say...
You can take anything out of context.
Yeah.
Anything.
They're saying because if you did something wrong in SimCity, it penalizes you.
Apparently, yeah, and
that's bad.
And they're basically saying that that's a form of fear-mongering. Look at this idiot. He doesn't know shit. Fucking geek. Right, no.
You know?
Well, let's be specific, because in this game, SimCity Societies, one specific thing is players choose alternative energy options like wind and solar and stuff for city infrastructure and soy farms and stuff instead of nuclear power.
Right, because nuclear power will inevitably make us all glow at night, and you know, meanwhile, it's arguably the safest form of energy out there. You know, it's well, actually, I take the.
I'm sorry. Ask Japan that.
So because yeah. Check with Tokyo, but like, is this asshole's like nuclear is arguably the safest internet? Do you remember Chernobyl?
Yeah,
I do.
Or just Japan right now. Like shit happens. That's what the game is doing.
I take the other one. There's one out there where you're in charge of the World Environmental Organization, and it's called Fate of the World.
Right.
So you get here.
It's not a real world though, asshole. It's a video game.
Fate of the World.
Do you remember in the Super Nintendo version when Giant Bowser would come and trash your city? Just like in the real world.
I don't know if he knows this, but most people playing the SimCity games are adults.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there's not many kids playing this strategy game.
And have you ever played SimCity and been like, I could really use these in the real world advantage. You know what I mean? Like, these are really going to help me one day.
What's this?
And we'll all be on your shoulders, son.
Here's what the game designers have to say about this. Is Ian Roberts. He's a game designer, and he's defending these games. He says, video games are about real-world issues, and they're important much like films. They let us experience things we never could and help us understand ourselves, each other, and the world around us, which sounds like a fine defense of it, but at the end of the day, parents don't really know what's in these video games, so they send them to play SimCity, and they're learning these lessons that might not be something the parents want with their kids to learn.
Exactly, and again, I go back to the fear. Here, there's actually one here.
What about the show Care Bears? That didn't teach us shit we needed to fucking learn. It taught us that bears live in the clouds.
Your hamburger. You have to think about deforestation, the slaughter. That's in the word slaughter is right there on the opening page of McDonald's the game and evil corporations.
But are people taking this too far and say that this is liberal fear-mongering or indoctrination somehow?
You know, that's what some critics on the right
this is a waste of
yeah, you know, I think so, because, you know, again, this kind of comes back to a theme.
This is on a major network, and this is news.
It's like, a waste of this logo. It's a waste of the set. It's a waste of this guy's suit, the fucking air that he's breathing in, the toupee on top of his head. It's a waste of all this bullshit. Nobody needed to see this.
Let kids be kids. It's one thing, like, you know, like we're Sesame Street, where, you know, we'll teach you not to litter and teach you how to, like, you know, say hello and please and thank you and these kinds of things, of course. But, you know, but they do it through nice, charming, fuzzy little puppets. These guys actually have kids freaking out and with sweaty palms, worried that they're not going to kill a bunch of
I want his stats on how many kids play this game.
Virtual
I forget what that game.
Flower
I
game.
can see both sides of this debate. I see all
pedal.
sides of this
Like,
because
yeah,
some
that's
people
gotta
writing
be
this
evil.
So
morning
what's
saying,
their-
well,
what's the
this
point
is
of
better
that?
I'm not
perhaps
sure.
than teaching the kids how to play war games.
It's
So-
also boring. It's also boring. These are not games. There's a game that it teaches kids how to do a tag sale.
TJ, what's boring
recyclables
about building pipelines?
This game is for fucking adults. There's barely any kids playing these games.
An adult is anybody 18 and over, old enough to
My
form their own
cousin
opinions.
upstairs has not played a SimCity game ever. Like, he mostly plays like fucking Grand Theft Auto and those games. Those games, at least I can sit here and I still fucking wouldn't agree with him, but I would get why he's trashing those games.
Well,
you know?
to some degree, except say your cousin, how old's your cousin, 12?
Yeah.
Say he was playing these games, say he was playing SimCity Societies. Could you really picture your cousin playing it, and then all of a sudden coming down all freaked out because SimCity Society told me that if I put nuclear power on my map, bad things were going to happen. Do you think that that means that something's going to happen in the real world? I'm really afraid right now. This game's freaked me out. I don't know what to think. I think I'm going to go back to playing violence in video games instead of this.
Yeah, and if they're talking about, video games making you afraid and making... How about Fox News making you afraid with their news stories? Like, besides this...
Well, how about this exactly? Fox News right now would this in a lot of way not be freaking out an average person who's not very well versed in video games and make them think
the whole point of this is to freak out moron parents and
it makes
about
them
video
think
games.
developers are evil. I think
Yeah.
that they're doing this with an evil message intent behind it. No, developers want one thing: your money.
This is a bullshit news story.
Oh yeah, this is what I mean. This is a waste of time.
They couldn't really think of anything, so this guy was like, "We should do this. We'll get this guy on."
Yeah.
I was talking to him, and he was talking about video games and shit. We'll get him on to talk about the SimCity game and blah fucking blah. Like,
it's like
really?
they just found this guy who was outside walking to his fucking his little economy-sized car. Or
remember
something.
we talked about how the news has writers nowadays rather than actual news reporters?
Yeah,
that's what it is. When there's a slow news day. Back in the day when there was a slow news day, you remember on Anchorman when they were showing the squirrel water skiing?
Oh yeah.
That was what they used to do on a slow news day. They would people would see that, oh, it must be a slow news day today. They're showing this. But now what they do is this.
So
they
this
make up fucking crazy news stories and make it look fill it full of fear and shit. Like, oh my god, they're doing this and that. Oh, and they make it like it's a news story.
This is a squirrel on water skis.
It is. This is exactly what this is.
It's that pointless.
Yeah.
A desperate attempt to fill 24 hours of programming. Here's some bullshit that happened somewhere today. We've got some footage here of the bullshit, which began just after 3 o'clock this afternoon when residents in this neighborhood were shocked to see this fairly common thing happening. An attractive witness described the event in breathless terms.
I went to my window and I was like, whoa, there's some bullshit happening.
That happened right over there. I'm an older man, so you can trust what I say.
Authorities in special uniforms rushed to the scene to stand around while our cameras filmed them. Our reporter Keith Collins joins us now live from the scene of the bullshit through the use of expensive technology. Good to be with you again, Keith. We have a colorful graphic here that shows instances of bullshit like this are on the rise. Is that right?
Yes, although why is unclear. Some say it's because of one fucking reason. Others say it's because of some other fucking reason. I talked to this random expert on the subject who told me this thing you're about to hear him say right after he points at a piece of paper.
I spent my entire life attending the nation's most prestigious schools to talk about bullshit like this. I'm really just happy to be on TV.
Now let's see if we can drag this out a little longer by showing emails written by some of our viewers. I once saw some stuff kind of like the shit you're talking about happen. I have nothing more to add. Another person says, I am angry that things like this happen. I get mad about every bullshit thing I see. So obviously a lot of opinions there to make this story seem somewhat meaningful.
Oh, absolutely, Glenn. This bullshit has some broader implications. Here's a list of tips on how to avoid bullshit happening to you.
And here's some footage of Congress.
Yes, I see that.
Well, thank you, Keith. Let us know if there are any updates on this bullshit story from there.
There's no way there will be.
Very good. We'll check back with you in an hour anyway.
I'm just some fucking guy.
When we return, we'll look at live footage of a car chase taken from a helicopter and free associate about what's going on.
CNN does that. Everything that is news today.
Fox
does
News, they are the pinnacle worst, especially when it comes to video games and to You know, that's the thing they're doing. That's what they're doing, and this is really funny. News programs promote themselves as your news source. Tune in for all this shit. Yeah. Whereas they're doing nothing more than misinforming their viewers.
Oh, yeah,
they're giving them false information. They're giving them one-sided, objective, fucking bullshit to things. Because obviously anyone who sees this, right? I mean, the average person, unfortunately, won't watch Fox News, see this bullshit, and then go to Google and look it up if they don't know and say, "Oh, Fox is full of shit." The average person will see this, and then they'll call their sister on the phone, and their sister might talk to somebody at work the next day.
Fucking this game? Isn't your son Billy playing something SimCity? Well, you should really look into it.
Get him to stop, because if he doesn't stop, they're going to stop doing nuclear energy. Yeah. They're going to shut down all the nuclear energy plants around the world. Homer Simpson will be out of a job. Fucking pricks. Let's finish this bullshit.
Yeah, all the more last year was 9 years, and next year will be 11 years, so whatever.
My grandfather died, when my grandfather was 10 years dead, that still was unfortunate for me, but it just gave a kind of like a somber, it's too bad, But 10 years later, a lot feels better. You know what I mean? Like, a lot feels better. Like, pretty much anything that's shitty that happens to you in your life, just wait 10 years.
Yeah, really.
Dipshits. Don't keep bringing it up.
Yeah, well, it'll keep going for fucking... Oh, yeah. There'll be a 25th year thing.
Funny? They keep going back to this, right? Because it was this thing. Imagine some girl got raped, and so every year on the date of her rape, she looked back on it. And then on the 10th year, she had this really big look back on her rape and shit like that. What's that
her profile picture is like remembering December 12th.
And everyone's like, that's weird, but all the state is doing is remembering the day New York just got the shaft. Man, I'm sorry. It sucked, and it really sucks that it happened, but 10 years later, I moved on.
And what I find really annoying with it is, like, the states are just fucking always yanking themselves off with shitty things that happen to them on Earth, but the thing is, so much worse has happened everywhere else on Earth. And they just completely ignore it. Like the Congo, there's people getting killed there all the time. The shit in Tokyo right now, like with the earthquake and stuff, that shit's still going on.
Oh yeah.
We'll push that aside so we can remember 10 years ago.
Oh, you mean the actual current tragedy?
Yeah. And there's current things going on right now that are way more important than 10 years ago. Yeah. This shit's done and over with. Like, it happened, it's done. We're way past it now.
And they'll say, well, look at the members of the families involved. They should be past it too.
Yeah, they should be fucking past it.
Unfortunate. I've always looked at it. It's a very simple way of putting things. They say move on. Someone lose, you lose someone. And they say...
We all lose someone.
But that's the thing, though. They say move on. I don't think you move on. I think you carry on. So to carry on is so you want to keep that person in your heart. So you're going to carry on. You're going to continue to live your life. Moving on is forgetting that person. To carry on is to remember that person. That's all you have to do. But you don't have to keep reminding us every year that this happened because we know what happened. Why don't we look at good things that might happen in the future? Yeah. And I know that's optimistic thinking and that we could all take and that people don't, but like this is just
the way it is nowadays. It's the news, right? Once again, we're going back to they got to report something every day, right? And so this is an easy news story. Every September 11th, easy news story right away. They don't have to look for anything, and not even just on September 11th. It's the fucking weeks leading up to it. And maybe even a couple weeks after. Yeah. They got fucking great news stories.
Because, and it appeals to that layer above. There's that layer above logic. There's logic which is pure, and once you find logic, you can't argue with logic, right? It appeals to unfortunately the layer above logic. It appeals to emotion, human emotion. It goes back to what we were talking about music and movies, because certain types of music evoke certain emotions. Certain emotions evoke at certain events in a movie. Yeah. Literally change the way you might actually have viewed that. So it's the same thing, right? They're not appealing to you logically. Logically, we should just let this shit go. It happened. It was really shitty that it happened, but it shouldn't have happened, but it did. Let it go. It's 10 years. But emotionally, this is what they're going for. Look at this. Remembering 9/11, there's the picture of everything.
The American flag in the air.
Firefighters.
With a piece of the fucking tower right there.
Terrible.
It's so sad.
It's not going to get you here. It's looking to get you right here. And it doesn't work because I live here.
Yeah.
No, I like butt play a little bit. Balloon knot. No, but like stuff like near your butt can feel good. But like I don't mean gay. Like I want a girl doing it. How's that gay?
Near.
Like I don't like gay stuff is weird to me, but like gay stuff can just happen. I don't care, but like I want hetero shit, and I want heterosexual in my ass.